Welcome to Hype Haven. Today we bring you the legendary tale of Bhishma, the warrior who took an unbreakable vow and shaped the destiny of the Kuru dynasty. A man of unmatched valor, wisdom, and sacrifice, Bhishma's life is a saga of devotion, duty, and tragedy. His story is not just about war, but about the weight of promises and the power of righteousness. Stay with us as we uncover the epic journey of Bhishma, the guardian of Hastinapura. 1. Bhishma's divine birth and the terrible vow. Bhishma's story begins long before his birth, rooted in divine will and celestial curses. He was born as DEVAVRATA, the son of King Shantanu and the river goddess Ganga. But his birth was no ordinary one. It was the result of a cosmic punishment. Bhishma was an incarnation of one of the 8 Vasas, celestial beings who were cursed to be born on earth as mortals. Ganga, his mother, had vowed to free her sons from the curse by drowning them at birth. But when Devavrata was born, she spared him, knowing that he was destined for a greater purpose. Raised in the royal court, Devavrata was the ideal prince, brilliant, fearless, and immensely skilled in warfare. He was trained under the greatest masters, including sage Parashurama, the formidable warrior sage who had never been defeated. His grasp over strategy, combat, and morality made him the pride of Hastinapura. But even with such talent, fate had a cruel test awaiting him. When King Shantanu fell in love with the beautiful Satyavati, happiness seemed within reach. But her father imposed a condition. The throne of Hastinapura must belong only to Satyavati's children. Shantanu, bound by his duty as king, was shattered, torn between love and responsibility. Seeing his father in turmoil, Devavrata made the ultimate sacrifice. In an oath that would shake the very heavens, Devavrata renounced his claim to the throne and vowed lifelong celibacy. The gods themselves marveled at his sacrifice, and from that day, he was known as Bhishma, the one who took the terrible vow. His promise was unbreakable, and with it, his fate was sealed. The guardian of Hastinapura. With his vow, Bhishma became the eternal guardian of Hastinapura. He dedicated his life to protecting the kingdom, ensuring its prosperity and stability through wisdom and warfare. Kings came and went, but Bhishma remained unwavering, steadfast, and bound by duty. He became the mentor of future rulers, shaping the destiny of the kingdom. He trained Dhritarashtra, the blind yet ambitious prince, Pandu, the skilled warrior, and Vidura, the wise and just statesman. But despite his efforts, fate led the kingdom toward turmoil. When Dhritarashtra ascended the throne, Bhishma found himself caught between his oath and his conscience. Though he disapproved of Dhritarashtra's blind favoritism towards his son Duryodhana, Bhishma was duty-bound to serve the throne. His heart ached as he watched injustice unfold, but his oath kept him silent. Was duty greater than righteousness? This was the dilemma that haunted Bhishma for the rest of his life. 3. Bhishma in the KURUSHETRA War. When war became inevitable between the Kauravas and the Pandavas, Bhishma was chosen as the commander of the Kaurava army. It was a role he never wished for, yet he had no choice. He loved the Pandavas like his own grandchildren, but his duty to Hastinapura forced him to fight against them. For 10 days, Bhishma was invincible. No warrior, no weapon could stand against him. His arrows struck like lightning, and his strategy outmatched even the greatest of generals. But in war, even the mightiest must fall. Knowing that he could not be defeated by conventional means, Krishna devised a plan. He instructed Arjuna to place Shikhandi, who was born as a woman, in the front line. Bhishma, bound by his vow never to fight a woman, lowered his weapons. And in that moment, the invincible warrior met his fate. The unbreakable warrior had fallen, But he did not crash onto the earth like a mortal. His body remained suspended on a bed of arrows, held aloft by the very weapons of his enemies. The battlefield, once roaring with the chaos of war, stood still. Warriors on both sides, Pandavas and Kauravas alike, watched in stunned silence. The grand elder of the Kuru dynasty, the pillar of Hastinapura, was now struck down, yet his presence remained as commanding as ever. As Bhishma lay wounded, the sky darkened, as if mourning the fall of the greatest warrior. Blood trickled from his wounds, yet his face showed no pain, only an unshaken resolve. But this was not the end for Bhishma. Even in his suffering, he did not waver. He refused to let death claim him just yet. Bhishma had been granted a boon from his father, King Shantanu, the power to choose the moment of his death. And so, despite the unbearable agony, he chose to wait. The time was not yet right. The sun was in its southward journey, known as Dakshinayana, considered an inauspicious time for death according to Hindu beliefs. Bhishma, the master of his own fate till the very end, resolved to endure his pain until Uttarayana, the northern journey of the sun, arrived, a time considered sacred for departing souls. 5. Bhishma's final teachings. As days passed, Bhishma remained there, alive through sheer willpower. When the war finally ended and the dust of battle settled, the victorious Pandavas stood before him, seeking his guidance. Yudhishthira, burdened with guilt and the weight of his new responsibilities, knelt before Bhishma. The eldest Pandava, despite winning the war, was tormented by questions. Was it truly a victory when so much blood had been spilled? Could he ever rule with justice and righteousness after such destruction? Bhishma, though racked with pain, had one last duty to fulfill. His wisdom had guided generations of kings, and he would not leave without imparting the greatest lessons of his lifetime. He spoke of Dharma, the sacred duty of a king, the responsibilities of a ruler towards his people, and the essence of righteousness. He counseled Yudhishthira on how to be a just and wise king, ensuring that the kingdom of Hastinapura would be ruled with fairness and morality. Even Krishna, the divine incarnation, stood in awe of Bhishma's devotion to duty. He knew that Bhishma's wisdom would shape the future of the Kuru dynasty for generations to come. This was not just a fallen warrior giving his last words. It was a sage passing down the knowledge of an era. And then finally, the day arrived. The sun began its northern journey, marking the arrival of Uttarayana. With a deep breath, Bhishma, the immortal warrior, prepared to leave his mortal body. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Hype Haven for more legendary tales from across the ancient world. Until next time, stay inspired and keep exploring.